Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world and whenever you are tuning into this video. My name is James Porcelli, and welcome to another edition of the Ruthless Talk podcast. Once again, for the second episode in a row, it is a solo review show. That is right. Last episode, my co-host Brian Thomas held down the fort, talked Monday Night Raw, talked some AEW, and now for today, it is your boy, as I'm going to go over SmackDown. There's a full show to go over, and we will dissect all of it. So, yes, another solo show. Unfortunately, my co-host Brian Thomas had some technical difficulties. Like I always say, the life of a content creator, man. It is what it is, but shout out to my co-host, Brian Thomas. He will be back with me later on this week, as me and Brian have a very special episode later on this week. We will be doing a full review show on the Vince McMahon documentary. That is right. As of course, many of you may know in the wrestling community, the Vince McMahon doc is officially out. It is officially available on Netflix. So far, I am 2 episodes down into that said documentary, as there's a total of 6 episodes in that documentary. So me and Brian will be doing a review show talking all about this documentary, discussing it, dissecting it. So make sure you guys stay tuned for it. Something that is very, very different on this podcast, but I'm definitely looking forward to it. I know Brian is as well. So make sure you guys stay tuned for it. Also, next weekend, we will be talking WWE Bad Blood in a full review show. We also have a special guest joining the show who is an Atlanta native, who is also very familiar to the Ruthless Talk podcast, who is very familiar to the show. So stay tuned of who that person is going to be. So all of that is going to go down. And of course, you guys see the banner down below. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and TikTok. That is Ruthless_Talk. Thank you guys so much. We just hit 2,000 followers on TikTok. I want to thank everybody who has followed us, not just on TikTok, but also Instagram as well. We have so much love for all those Instagram followers as well. But thank you guys so much for getting us to 2,000 followers on TikTok. We continue to break milestone day by day, week by week. And it is thanks to you guys for your continuous love and support to this platform, to this channel. So thank you guys so much, and continue to like, subscribe, comment, all of that fun stuff. We appreciate you guys and your support to our Ruthless Talk community. So with all that being said, we are going to dissect into this show. And also, first things first, I do want to give a quick shout out to the Wrestling with the Homies podcast. As earlier on this week, I had the pleasure of collaborating with those guys, talking Monday Night Raw, talking the Jey Uso big title victory, winning the Intercontinental Championship. So if you guys want to hear my thoughts, about that said title change, make sure you guys go check that video out. I will be putting a link in the description box down below if you guys are interested in checking that out, as well as go check out Wrestling with the Homies podcast. Really good dudes. They make tremendous content over there. Again, Quan, Cooley, really good guys. Again, really just make tremendous content. And it was an honor. It was a pleasure being on their show. Had a really great time. So again, if you're interested, check out the description box down below. Click on that link to check out that collaboration video. So let's dive into this, man. So my goal is to get this video under an hour. It is very late on a Saturday night. It is now 11 p.m. That's right, 11 p.m. It's fucking late as shit. So I'm going to do my best to get this under an hour and published out to you guys, as we are going to be, at least for the majority of this episode of this show today, will be about SmackDown, going over the show. So we're going to dive straight into that. But first things first, man. I don't do this a whole lot on this podcast, as I know this is mainly pro wrestling focused, but I have to mention this to all of my sports fans out there, specifically to the New York fans, specifically also to my New York Met fans and my New York Knicks fans. Of course, if you guys have seen our social medias, the reason why I was not a part of last episode was because I was traveling out to Atlanta, Georgia to watch the New York Mets take on the Atlanta Braves. And unfortunately, due to this hurricane recently, the game was postponed. And not just Wednesdays, but also Thursdays, as now they're going to be playing a doubleheader on Monday for those two said games. So, yeah, just a trip, 5+ hour trip that was not very successful, unfortunately. So, but I do want to talk the Mets a little bit, as I just got done watching their game as they just played against the Milwaukee Brewers, as they are fighting for their playoff lives. And this team got shut out. They got embarrassed. Look, man, it sucks. It really does suck. The season's not over, right? I'm not going to sit here. There's a lot of Mets fans already on social media, Instagram, Twitter, everywhere, that are already packing this season in. I'm not going to be one of those people, but I'm not going to hesitate to start hitting the panic button as of right now, because I'm at that point, because the bats could not have gotten colder at the worst possible time, as they only put up 2 hits. That's right, guys. 2 motherfucking hits in this game, getting shut out 6-0 on a bullpen day. That's right. A bullpen day from the Milwaukee Brewers. Guys, that's fucking horrible. That is really, really horrible. And man, I don't even know what to say because of how just fresh and new this is right now, as the game just ended not too long ago. But it's crazy, right? For a team that was on such a high all the way since June, mid-June into this season, halfway through this season, this team was arguably the hottest team in baseball. A starting rotation that on paper is very average. Let's be honest, with people like Luis Severino, Sean Manaea, Jose Quintana, Tyler McGill, and all of these dudes collectively have caught fire. And it has just been so good to see, to where if one person's not doing their job, if one person doesn't have it that night, then the other person's going to back them and do their thing the next night. And everybody was on the same page and everybody was having fun. Everybody was electric and running on all cylinders with the OMG and the grimace and all of that stuff. And finally, what felt like forever and what feels like forever over the past decade with this franchise, playing meaningful baseball in September, to where we don't get that a whole lot, especially since 2015, 2016, the last time they made a big World Series push and a big World Series run. And for it to get to this point, to get the bats and the team to just completely just not show up, and to get cold at the worst possible time with 3 games left into this season, I don't even know what to say. It really does suck, man. It really, really does suck. Again, the season's not over. I'm not going to pack the season in, because at this point right now, they still control their own destiny. It all comes down to what they do in Atlanta. Trying to win over there in Atlanta, Georgia, is like finding a needle in a haystack. It is unbelievable how the change in demeanor, how the change in just everything about that team, just a switch just flips every time they go there. I don't know what it is. It is just fucking weird. But man, is it frustrating, bro. I'm not going to lie. It is really, really, really frustrating. And yes, there is still hope, but now they have to rely on on teams like the Diamondbacks, right? Teams like the San Diego Padres to beat the Arizona Diamondbacks to give us some hope. And it sucks. The more this goes on, the more we no longer can control our own destiny. And now to where they have to win tomorrow against Milwaukee in their final game in this 3-game series, and then they go on to Atlanta to play this doubleheader, man. And yeah, it's just a shame, bro. Everything just coming into place at the worst possible time, with Lindor's injury, the bats getting cold, also Francisco Alvarez getting injured. all of it, man, coming at the worst possible time. And just like back in 2022, where everything was starting to come into place going into that series against, you know it, the Atlanta Braves. And your boy was there live from letting the division, the NL East division, slip through their fingers. And that momentum carried into that wild card series against the San Diego Padres. And nothing has been the same since. And now finally, here is an opportunity to flush that all away for this doubleheader coming up. But the way that this team has been playing, the way that the bats have gotten cold, even the starting rotation, Sean Manaea had a really rough start yesterday. Quintana tried for 4 some odd innings to try to keep this team alive. It sucks. And it felt like an eternity ago, Sunday Night Baseball, just a week ago, where they defeated the Philadelphia Phillies. They beat them 3 out of 4 in that series, in a 4-game series. And it felt like everything was coming into place. It was like destiny was upon itself for everything for this team to get red hot, to be the hottest team in baseball, Grimace, OMG, everything. And for it to get to this point, to now hit the panic button at this point now, because the way that they're gelling offensively, guys, it is not good. And even though I don't think the season's over, I still want to see how all of this plays out, these last 3 games, I should say. But it's not good, bro. It is not good at all. They need to wake up, and they need to wake up now, like fucking fast ASAP. And just a really frustrating game tonight. On a bullpen day, they get shut out with only 2 hits to show for it. And it's a shame, bro. You can change the stadium. You can change the front office. You can change the uniform. You can change whatever. The New York Mets will always find a way to beat themselves. And so far, as we near the end of the regular season, that is exactly what they are doing. They are beating themselves, just like 2 years ago. They are beating themselves. They are shooting themselves in the foot once again. And they need to wake up now, because with 3 games left into this season, I don't want to say it's over. It's not over until the fat lady sings in my book. But if you're a Met fan, panic has to start creeping in. It does. Because we know how things go in Atlanta over the last several weeks. We cannot win in that fucking stadium, in that fucking ballpark. I don't know what it is. It's not looking good, bro. It's not. Again, I want to be hopeful. This entire season, this team has given you a reason to believe in them. But over the last several days with Lindor's injury, who you can tell something is just off, something doesn't seem right with Lindor. It's just that doubt once again, as nostalgia, right? We always feel this way as Met fans. That nostalgia creeps in, doubt starts to creep in, like, oh, it's going to happen again. And that just might be the case. And we'll see. Fingers crossed. We'll see what they do tomorrow against Milwaukee in this doubleheader on Monday. But also, you got the New York Knicks. You got the New York Knicks, who broke headlines over the last 24 hours as Karl Anthony Towns is being traded to the New York Knicks in exchange for Julius Randle, Dante DiVincenzo, as well as a first-round pick. And maybe something else that I'm forgetting. I apologize for that. So look, man, I know a lot of Knicks fans are not happy with this trade because mainly, of course, with Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, 2 big key players that have been on this roster over the last several years now. Of course, dating back to their big playoff run last year. And unfortunately, due to just many, many injuries and so on and so forth, cost them a trip back to the Eastern Conference Finals last year, losing to the Indiana Pacers in 7 games. And now they make this move to where Leon Rose is telling you that we are all in to be a championship caliber team. And now the expectation has changed to where no longer can the New York Knicks walk into this season, walk into the potentially the Eastern Conference semifinals, can't get the job done, and then say, oh, well, we'll try again next year. The future's bright, this and this and that. No. You now have an all-star center. Whatever you guys want to say about Karl Anthony Towns, he's soft, he's this, he's that. This is a move that they had to make, because with Mitchell Robinson and his history with injuries over the last several years, they know that they're not going to win with a who knows how healthy of Mitchell Robinson, as well as with Julius Randle. Because now with Mikal Bridges on this roster, in this starting lineup, where does Julius Randle fit onto this team? Leon Rose understands at this point, from what's happened over the last several seasons, the last several years, that with Julius Randle being the first, second, third biggest player on this roster, whatever you want to spew it as, is not good enough. He knows that. And in order to bring in a big name, in order to make a big splash, you got to give up some of your biggest pieces. And the big piece that you had to give up was Julius Randle, because now you have Mikal Bridges with OG Anunoby, Josh Hart, Jalen Brunson. Julius Randle at this point has become replaceable, right? And now you have your all-star center. And I love Mitchell Robinson. I really, truly like the dude. When he is firing on all cylinders, when he's healthy, when he's playing every single day, that dude is just as good as a center as anybody in the NBA. But especially what now he's spewing out on social media, and again, just his recent injury history, Leon Rose continues to show that in order for this team to take to the next level, these are the last few missing pieces, the last 2 pieces that we need to get rid of to get where we need to be. And that is bringing a championship to this fucking city, to New York. Now, here's what I will say that I can't stand about this trade, and that is getting rid of Donte DiVincenzo. I can't stand it. I don't understand that at all. I don't understand why we need to keep all of these fucking draft picks. We got rid of 1, right? Why not just give them 2, 3, 4, however many draft picks you need to give up? Because now, like I mentioned, you have shown that you're going all in for a championship. You're going all in to be one of the top teams, not just in the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA as a whole for the next 3, 4, 5 years. Why do you need these draft picks? Why are you hogging these draft picks that you don't fucking need? Especially for a guy like Donte DiVincenzo, who, yes, I like personally, but it's not even about that. A dude that was such a major asset to this team from the three-point line and even on the defensive end, on both sides of the ball. A dude to where you can argue, back even in the Philadelphia series, if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't even be playing Atlanta. We wouldn't even be playing Indiana in the semifinals. It's just weird, bro. And I don't know if Donte was the deal breaker, right? If Donte is not a part of this, trade, there's no trade even being made. If that was the deal breaker on Minnesota's end, I don't know. That could be the case. But if so, man, why not try to go all in and getting rid of those draft picks because of how valuable Donte DiVincenzo is to your franchise, is to your team? You know, people should be more upset about Donte leaving this team than Julius Randle. I'm just going to be honest with you. So we got Karl Anthony Towns. We got our all-star center. And I'm I'm fucking ready, man. I'm freaking hyped. I've never been this excited as a Knicks fan going into a season. Say what you want about Karl Anthony Towns. He's soft. He's this. He's that. This dude is the all-star center, is the all-star big man that this team has been missing. He is legit, guys, the missing piece. He has worked with Tom Thibodeau before. He is from Jersey. He's a Jersey native. He knows exactly what it takes to win in this city. He understands it. He's been here. He's from here. I should say not here because I'm now from Charlotte, Charlotte, North Carolina, that is. But being in New York, he knows what it takes, man. So before we criticize Karl Anthony Towns, we have to see what unfolds with this team collectively. We have to see this team perform as a collective unit because this can fall flat on its face. There's no doubt. I'm not saying it's going to be all, cookies and rainbows, but you can't argue or you can't deny the balls that Leon Rose and this front office has for making a blockbuster move like this and to tell Knicks fans, hey, we're not messing around. We want that championship. We want to bring a championship for you guys and for New York City. We are going all in on this shit, man. It is now or never. In the next 2, 3, 4, 5, some odd years, however many years, it is now or never. That is what Leon Rose is telling you. And for that, I can't praise Leon Rose enough. To take the chance and understand that with Mitchell Robinson, who has been very inconsistent on staying on the court, and for a guy like Julius Randle, because you've added Mikal Bridges, he's now become replaceable. That's it. Very good player, who has improved dramatically, who has improved tenfold. But now you have a team that from top to bottom is a sexy starting five. I'm just saying, bro. And again, no doubt Dante departure is a massive hit, especially for the bench. But outside of that, man, if you are a Knicks fan that's saying that this is a bad trade, I question your basketball knowledge. I'm just throwing that out there, and I'm going to end it with that. So I know that went on forever. I apologize, but again, shout out to all of my sports fans, specifically to all of my New York sports fans, Mets fans, New York Knicks fans, to where lots of mixed emotions, a lot of mixed feelings with the Mets, a lot of hope, and just excitement going into this New York Knicks basketball season. And we'll see how it all unfolds, man. So again, shout out to people like Bald Bro, Top Bunk Sports, who talk a lot about the Knicks and the New York Mets and all of New York sports as well. But I had to mention that, man. Those were for all my sports fans out there. So that was, I guess you could say, my cold open for this episode. So, but enough of that. Let's get into some pro wrestling itself. So of course, with Brian Thomas going solo from last episode, he mentioned a lot of things. Of course, Monday Night Raw with Jey Uso and winning the IC title, but of course with AEW and MVP arriving to AEW this past Wednesday on Dynamite, cutting a promo on Prince Nana, as Nana was giving an update on Swerve Strickland's condition, that he's going to be back. He's going to be coming back. Physically, obviously, he's still recovering, but mentally, he's good. Everything is fine. And MVP has, let's say, a lot of interest in bringing in Swerve as a client or whatever you want to call it. Look, man, as we know, MVP has filed a trademark on Hurt Syndicate, so that they're doing this. They're doing Hurt Business 2.0, whatever you want to call it, pretty something similar to that realm, with possibly Bobby Lashley, maybe Shelton Benjamin, a Will Hobbs. Is Will Hobbs still a part of Don Callis' family? I don't even fucking know. But if not, shoot, Will Hobbs can fit into that shit perfectly. And whatever other name maybe you want to throw in there. But for somebody like Swerve, man, and I will say this, shout out to Prince Nana, first and foremost. He follows Ruthless Talk on Instagram. He's a good dude. Much love to him, man. But Swerve Strickland and MVP. I don't know a guy, if you have, or anybody that has 2 brain cells, can't look at that and not think massive, massive potential with the addition of Bobby Lashley and whatever name that you want to add into that. The booking of Swerve, as good as the steel cage match was against Hangman Adam Page, as good as the segment was with Hangman Adam Page as well on Dynamite, with the house being burnt down, Swerve Strickland being a part of MVP would be a amazing addition to his character. Not really a dramatic, huge change to his character, but an addition that could really get people buzzing if you present this the way it needs to be presented. Because, yeah, man, that is something that you can book to the high heavens if done properly. And this could go many different ways, right? Swerve, he could return and definitely join MVP and Hurt Syndicate with Bobby Lashley and others. Or they go the route that maybe they have Swerve Strickland, I guess, go the babyface route and take on a potential Bobby Lashley in AEW. So I don't know. Those are obviously some options that you can go. But for Swerve, man, as that vicious, unhinged, diabolical heel, and that type of persona, I think would fit so well in the muscle that's Bobby Lashley. If you want to add a Shelton Benjamin in there as well, there's your fucking... There's your faction, bro. With MVP at the helm, the mouthpiece, you got Swerve, you got Bobby Lashley as the muscle, and there you have Shelton Benjamin as, the 10, 20 plus year vet. And you can rectify what WWE and Triple H botched. Let's just be honest. They botched over with that said faction, as Triple H didn't even want to acknowledge Hurt Business. He had no interest even bringing the Hurt Business back. And that's where we heard MVP get very, very frustrated with Triple H and his booking and his thought process. Bobby Lashley's even went on many podcasts and shows that he's preferred Vince McMahon's booking over Triple H's booking. And now there's this chance to rectify all of that with Hurt Syndicate. Now the question again comes down to Tony Khan and suits and ties, not just to book, not just giving something creatively, but the presentation. How are you going to present them? How are you going to make them look badass? That's also the question as well. There's a lot of potential. I'm interested. I want to see this work. But with many things that we see in this company, that's very, very hard to do, is to be hopeful that anything can stay consistent. So who knows? There's a lot of good moments. We've seen many good moments in this company, like we mentioned so many times. But with Swerve, MVP, Bobby Lashley, I don't know how you can look at that and just swipe it underneath the rug, water underneath the bridge. That is something that you have to take advantage of and soar to the high heavens, because that can work. And especially for Swerve, a dude that, as good as the Prince Nana dance is and the entrance, putting him in with MVP and the Hurt Syndicate and letting Swerve just be Swerve. You add Bobby Lashley as the muscle, but Swerve is the foundation, right? He is the superstar. He is the former world champion. You make him the headline star outside of MVP, who's the mouthpiece in all of it. You make Swerve that headline attraction of that said group. So who knows where they go with it? There's a lot of potential with it, and I just hope that they're just not just booked properly, but presented the way they can and should be. So we'll see moving forward. But let's finally dive into SmackDown, man. Let's finally jump into this show. Let's start off with the ladies. We'll get into Cody, we'll get into Roman, and we'll get into Kevin Owens, or Randy Orton, I should say, Kevin Owens, and that whole spiel. But let's dive into the ladies, man. Let's start off with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton. They were both backstage. Nia Jax is fuming. She is pissed after being pinned by Bayley and Naomi, and now both of those two ladies are going to be in a singles matchup to determine who goes on to face Nia Jax at Bad Blood. But there was a backstage segment, and Nia Jax, again, she's pissed. She ends up putting her hands on Tiffany Stratton as Tiffany Stratton was with her backstage, saying, you know, if this ends badly for me, this is also going to end badly for you. And she takes her hand out of her throat or whatever. She lets go of her, and she's like, see, now we can be friends again. And the look on their face, though, the tension's still there as she walks off, and Tiffany Stratton is fuming. She is angry, as the look and the facial expressions tell you the entire story. We go into this match. It's Bayley versus Naomi. It's face versus face, man. I can't stand these matches. Love Bayley and I love Naomi, but I can't stand these styles of matches, man. Can't stand it. Never have, and I probably never will. Unless the booking wise, the story wise, it makes the most sense, right? And you have to do these things very, very rarely, to where now in this company, we just see it at least every other week. We see a face versus face match or a heel versus heel or vice versa. But Bayley wins this match. She wins the match via the Macho Man elbow from the top rope, and Naomi is looking up at the lights for the 3 count, the 1, 2, and the 3, and Bayley goes on to face Nia Jax at Bad Blood. Look, man, and then they teased a heel turn or a potential turn that Naomi could potentially go against Bayley maybe in the future. I don't know. I'll get to that in just a second. But look, man, I mean, listen, much love to Bayley. I mean, listen, if they want to go the route in doing this rematch again, whatever, fine. It's not my company. I mean, it is what it is. But I would have had Naomi win this match. I really would have. Because think about it. You have Bayley and Nia Jax, right? Bayley just came back. You're having her in this rematch. Bayley shouldn't be winning the championship anyway. She's going to lose. Nia Jax is going to retain this championship. And your focal point is this story with Tiffany and Nia Jax. So why not give Naomi some shine? Give her something, right? If she's going to lose anyway, right? Give her this spotlight. Let's have this company remind fans how good Naomi truly is by giving her this said opportunity, a somewhat of a fresh matchup, instead of just doing another match with Bayley and Nia Jax, which we know that Bayley can or is not going to win this title anyway. So why not take this opportunity to give Naomi some shine and then catapult her to something afterwards when this is all said and done? But knowing this fucking company and this booking with Naomi, you know that's not going to be the case, man. You just know it. And they're trying to turn her heel, right? Or at least they're hinting that, like that's going to do fucking anything to her booking, right? Like, guys, like, let's be honest. If they turn Naomi heel, how is that going to be the deal breaker that's going to give her better booking? What is it? You're turning Naomi heel. You're hinting that Naomi is going to turn heel. I don't know how that's going to improve Naomi's booking. What is that doing for Naomi? Is that making Naomi look more badass? Is that improving her booking by turning her heel? What is that doing for her? Somebody tell me. It just makes no fucking sense, man. And now she's going to be in another said match with Tiffany. As they were in backstage, setting up a match backstage after she took the loss, after Naomi is, getting frustrated after the match, and she had a little moment with Bayley. She's like, "Oh, I'm just kidding. Don't worry. Go win that championship, and we got to run it back in the near future," right? It's just, man, this woman, bro. Me and Brian have been preaching this ever since we've had this podcast that Naomi can and should be a bigger asset to this company. With all of the talent you have in this women's division, for somebody like Naomi that is uber talented like Naomi, who is beloved by this wrestling community, and she's doing the bare minimum, doing nothing but being Bayley's best friend, her best buddy. That's it. And now she loses this match, and now she's going to face Tiffany Stratton, and she's going to continue to be the helping hand of Bayley. And that's it. There's nothing about Naomi's booking that is making anybody care. And that's a shame. Regardless of what this company has planned for Tiffany and Nia Jax moving forward, I'm all for it. You don't need to have Bayley in the middle of this. Use this to put Naomi back on a pedestal and catapult her, plan something for her. If she's going to lose this match, which she probably would, catapult her to something and give her something moving forward. Give her some creative booking that people are going to be intrigued about, that people want to see. And again, it's just another example on how piss poor this women's division is. Naomi is a perfect example of all of that. And it's a damn shame, man. I do like what they're doing with Tiffany and Nia Jax. And Tiffany Stratton as a face, man. I mean, look, she's also been catching a lot of fire, a lot of positive feedback from fans. So I don't know if they want to pull the trigger. Do they do this at Bad Blood and have her cash in at Bad Blood? Because then what? Are you just going to wait until the SmackDown after Bad Blood? Or are you going to wait all the way until Survivor Series? So could they go the route to have Tiffany Stratton cash in this briefcase? Because after what you saw backstage, I mean, she's cashing that shit in on Nia. I don't think it's a no-brainer. And could they have Tiffany Stratton now become a full-fledged face, which I'm still mixed about, because as a heel, man, she's just great. As that heel character is just so good. Not saying that she can't be a babyface, but still how new she is to the main roster. Still, even with a briefcase, I still think that there's so much for Tiffany to offer as a heel. But I do like, to an extent, I like what they're doing with both of these ladies. And hopefully they have something planned that's going to really get people talking and really ignite Tiffany Stratton and really do wonders for Tiffany Stratton moving forward. And for the love of God, WWE, can we just give Naomi something other than being in a fucking tag team or being the helping hand or being the fall gal for once, right? She's paid her dues for 15 years in this company. Give her something. If not even a championship, you don't even have to give her a championship. Give her something of importance, of relevance, something. Because what she's doing, just once again being the helping hand, the fall gal, Bayley's best friend, her best buddy, is not it. It's not it. And this past Friday was no different. So, you had Andrade and Carmelo Hayes in their 6th match in this potential 7-match series. LA Knight, interfered in this match. As there was an altercation as well backstage. Carmelo backstage just unloads on LA Knight with a fist to his face, knocking him over some staging equipment, I guess, backstage. I guess teasing potentially Carmelo and LA Knight in the future, I guess, is the plan now, to have Carmelo win this 7-match series and go on to face LA Knight for the United States Championship, I guess. There's your seed planted, and I guess right there. But LA Knight comes out to interfere and end up costing Andrade the match. Carmelo wins this match via the awe-inspiring and the ultra-devastating maneuver, the roll-up finish. Rolling up Andrade after all of the spine busters and power slams and frog splashes and suicide dives. It was the roll-up that Andrade just could not kick out of. You guys know how I feel about the roll-up finish, man. It's just weird how that little distraction by LA Knight was enough after Andrade taking suplexes, suicide dives, splashes, moonsaults, but it's the roll up that got him. That little roll up that he can't even get his shoulder just a centimeter off the mat. The dude's got big lats, right? Can't even nudge that shoulder, man. Can't even do it. Look, I mean, I will say this to be fair. Carmelo and Andrade, they do really good work together in that ring. They really, truly do. And it has a place, right? That style of booking, I guess, simplistic booking, right? Seeing how, who's better than the other and whoever comes out of it gets the title match. It's some pretty simplistic booking for two dudes that one is very new to the main roster still in Carmelo Hayes. And the other dude, Andrade, who just, again, I've said it for weeks, man, just needs assistance, bro. Needs a better presentation because what he's doing right now is just not it, man. It's just not. He's putting on tremendous matches with Carmelo. That's great. But again, another tease of him and LA Knight backstage from social media. Them going at it, security having to separate them after LA Knight costing Andrade the match. So, and I've said this so many times about the mid-card division, man, right? After LA Knight took on Santos, right? And now after you have Carmelo face Andrade for the 10,000th fucking time, now what? Now you're just going to throw everybody else in there? You're going to just have a triple threat with Carmelo, LA Knight, and Andrade, I guess? Or are you just going to do Carmelo and LA Knight? I mean, there's at least something on the line to make it somewhat make sense to be a triple threat. But, I mean, it seems like that's the way to go. I mean, Santos, I don't know what the fuck Santos is doing. I haven't seen that dude in what feels like weeks. So, unless Carmelo wins this seventh matchup that's going to take place, again, as good of chemistry those two have, there's nothing else I need to see between those two. Or they're going to go the triple threat route and do a triple threat match. I'm guessing on SmackDown. They never, bro, they will never have these mid-card championships being placed on a PLE, as you know. I mean, the IC title is given proof, and the United States title for many moons now has been also given proof as well. So look, man, I mean, listen, and for LA Knight's sake too, man, I mean, again, the dude is straight fire. I find it hard to believe that this is the best we have for LA Knight, especially when you have two big caliber stars in Roman and Cody on the same brand, and LA Knight is involved in all of this is just really forgettable and just something that doesn't strike fear in missing out on what he does. And that's the problem, right? With him and Bray Wyatt, that was just tremendous on all ends. And it sucked that had to be Bray Wyatt's last feud, but everything about that feud and how that introduced LA Knight to the wrestling audience, the new wrestling audience, to new fans was awesome. And shoot, even at times with AJ Styles going into WrestleMania. And now here he is with this United States Championship finally. And this dude is not even, let's be honest, a really major talking point of this show. He's really not. He's there. He's got the United States Championship finally. That's great. It's about fucking time you did. It's about time you gave him this fucking rocket that you should have given him a year ago. Let's be honest here. So they're going to have this seventh match. Cool, I guess. They could do a triple threat. They could have Carmelo and LA Knight. LA Knight shouldn't be losing that championship anyway. But the way that this mid-card division's built right now, who knows what Hunter Hearst Helmsley has in store with this mid-card division. He could just take this title off of LA Knight at any given point. So, I don't know, man. I just, and especially with SmackDown going to 3 hours, bro. It's just, and just from the SmackDown rating last week, bro, they lost 300,000 viewers in 1 week. Doesn't take a rocket scientist to say, yeah, that's not good, is it? And again, to have a match with Andrade and Carmelo for the 6th time, potentially now the 7th time. It's, again, a point in this show to where not a whole lot of fans have any true fear in missing out. They just don't. If you've seen one Andrade and Carmelo matchup at this point, you've seen them all. And that's just the truth. As good as chemistry they have, there's nothing else to see that we haven't already seen. Could they do a triple threat with LA Knight's title? Could it just be Carmelo and LA Knight? We'll see. And we'll also see how much care I truly have for it at the end of the day. We'll see. Let me get into another ladies, I guess you can call it feud, if you want to put it that way. Michin in a matchup with Piper Niven. This was obviously to pump up Michin in her matchup with Chelsea Green next week. Guys, Chelsea Green is a bona fide superstar, man. She is fucking incredible. The segment last week in her preparing for this dumpster match is just fucking great. A character that just fits in that type of persona. And I'm telling you, man, there is not a character in the WWE's female division, at least, that is more intriguing and that's killing the game than Chelsea Green. It's not even close. And I'm talking Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan. You give me any fucking name, Chelsea Green is above all of them. She is fucking gold, bro. And I'm not going to lie, bro. I am looking forward to what they have in store for this dumpster match next week. I would love to see Chelsea Green win this match, but they're probably going to have her on the losing end because she is more of the comedic act, and they're going to have her in that type of spot to where she's, with her, maybe with, I don't know, like Dorito chips in her hair and having this nasty smell. Who knows how it's going to be portrayed. But for somebody like Chelsea, she's going to knock it out of the park, and I can't praise her enough. And I'm really looking forward to the visual, right? And how they present this. Hopefully it's away from the ring. Hopefully it's a vignette type of fight, maybe street fight type of scenery, but we'll see, man. But I am looking forward to it. Something in regards to the women's division that has lacked a lot, and that is fan interest. Well, for me, this piques my interest, and you can thank Chelsea Green because, again, this type of match just fits a character like Chelsea Green, and that segment she was in last week just fits, bro. So I'm looking forward to this, man. And this could elevate Michin, too. Michin in the process. I guess she's only going by Michin now, not even Mia Yim at this point. But she's most likely going to win this match. I would love for Chelsea Green to win this match and maybe use that as momentum to really maybe up her booking. But it seems to me that WWE only sees her as the comedic act, and she's going to kill it regardless. But I really wish that we could give Chelsea Green just a little bit more of a rocket because how electrifying she has been with this character. But we'll see, man. But I am looking forward to that dumpster match and what Chelsea Green is going to bring to the table, and what Triple H and Suits and Ties also have in plan for as well. All right, now let's get into what everybody's been talking about, and that is the bloodline, and that is this tension that has been rising with Orton, Cody Rhodes, and Kevin Owens. So Orton is the one that kicks off the show, and he invites Cody Rhodes down to the ring and talking about him teaming with Roman Reigns. He doesn't know how to feel about it. I don't know how much he trusts Roman Reigns and how he feels about this. So he invites Cody Rhodes out there. Cody Rhodes states his piece. He says, listen, he gave me his word and I believe him. He looked me dead in his eyes when we were on that football field, and he gave me his word and I believe it. And he tells Orton, he's like, I hope that you don't have a problem with it. And Orton's like, oh, there's no problem at all, but unless you make it a problem. And there was like this awkward pause, and then out comes Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has a few choice words to say, but then immediately was interrupted by Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline. Of course, Solo Sikoa talking his shit, telling the fans to acknowledge him. At this point, bro, like, people say that you're a bootlegged version of Roman Reigns as a tribal chief, you might as well just use everything to Roman Reigns' playbook, I guess, at this point. So Solo Sikoa, is doing his thing at the rampway. Kevin Owens interrupts, and then he challenges the Bloodline to a said tag match. Cody Rhodes then tries to set up for a potential 6-man tag, but then Kevin Owens interrupts, like, no, listen, you got your tag match with Roman. You want to focus on that tonight. It's us two, me and Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu, as that matchup was made official later on. And you can see the frustration on Cody Rhodes. You can tell he's a little bit, feels a certain type of way about, Kevin Owens kind of pushing him to the curb like that a little bit. As the facial expressions, once again, it kind of tells the entire story there. Backstage, you have Cody, Orton, and Kevin Owens. Again, a lot of tension spewing with Kevin Owens and Cody. He's like, listen, I don't want you out there. It's like, just let us handle this, and Cody's trying to defend himself, trying to plead his case, but Kevin Owens, he ain't having it, bro. He's like, no, you stay back here. We don't need you out there. We don't want you out there. Just let us handle this. But Orton then comes up to him. He's like, listen, if anything goes down, I would love for you to have our back tonight. And so just keep that in mind in regards to it. And the camera panders to Cody Rhodes. And then we get to the main event. This was the tag match. You got Orton and Kevin Owens versus the Bloodline. You have Solo Sikoa and Jacob Fatu. So shocker, you have the Gorillas of Destiny. The rest of the Bloodline get involved. Cody Rhodes is out there getting involved. Cody Rhodes gets thrown into the official. I think it was Jacob Fatu that threw Cody underneath the bottom rope, and it clipped the referee's legs, and he kind of fell to the ground. Kevin Owens was hitting a stunner to Solo Sikoa at that point, went for the cover. KO doesn't know what's going on. Orton didn't even know what was going on. Jacob Fatu and Solo take advantage of the said distraction, and it's Jacob Fatu and Solo Sikoa that pick up the W in this said tag match. And tension continues to rise. Kevin Owens is now furious now at Cody Rhodes costing him this match. He's like, why are you out there? What are you doing? Gets nose to nose with Cody Rhodes. Randy Orton is trying to play peacemaker with both of these two. Orton's like, calm down, dude. I told him to be out here. If Bloodline members interfered, this was me. I told him to be out here. And tension is building. And you guys know when it comes to WWE, man, they can't help themselves but having wrestlers show mutual respect. And that's what Kevin Owens and Cody did. They embraced in a hug. I mean, I know it was a half-ass hug, but still, he's hugging the dude, and we go off the air. So that is SmackDown. So look, man, I like the tension, right? I like the tension with Cody and Kevin Owens, and you question, right, who's turning? Who is the one that's going to turn? Because it can't be both Kevin Owens and Orton. It just can't be, nor is it probably going to. Now, I'll be honest with you, man, the way that I'm looking into this, and I'll say more about this, everything in its totality in just a second, but something tells me, man, the mannerisms of Kevin Owens and how overly frustrated he is with Cody, I don't think that Kevin Owens is turning heel. I don't. I truly feel, and what should happen is that Orton is the one that is going to turn heel on Cody Rhodes. Because think about it, right? You have Randy Orton, a guy who has also gone to bat for Cody Rhodes and doesn't truly have anything to show for it, right? A guy that had to go over to the Raw brand to go after a Raw exclusive championship. And here Cody Rhodes is giving a championship opportunity to Kevin Owens, right? And maybe you would think that Orton kind of feels a certain type of way being on the SmackDown brand for everything that I've done for you, Cody. I've shown you nothing but love and respect, welcoming you back with open arms, and you choose Kevin Owens over me, the guy that helped you get into this company, right? With legacy and everything, right? That molds you, that helped you get into this business. People may not even know who a Cody Rhodes is back 10 plus years ago if it wasn't for me, right? And now, could it be Orton is the one behind the scenes that's causing this tension, to where he knows that if Cody Rhodes goes out there, he invites Cody Rhodes out there because he knows that's going to continue to cause controversy between Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens. And it's the perfect opportunity for that snake, that viper, to finally strike. Whenever that time comes, hopefully it's fucking soon, because guys, whether you like it or not, Randy Orton as a babyface is hard to watch. It just is. This version of Randy Orton is not cutting it. This dude has so much more to offer than what he's been doing, than constantly losing at PLEs, right? Continuing to get the short end of the stick, when we all know this dude has one more big run left in him, right? One more big run left in him. A heel run, a persona that fits him, the only type of persona that fits a style like Randy Orton, and a feud with Cody Rhodes that, guys, just needs to happen. The story is sitting in your lap. And that's it. So is it Randy Orton, the one that turns heel, that's the cause of all this controversy over the last several weeks between Kevin Owens and Cody? That's the question. Because you can't turn both of them. You can't. As much as I like Kevin Owens as a heel, right? And a lot of people say that Cody Rhodes should be turning heel. What is that doing, right? A lot of people in this community love to just go the route, well, if something's not working, turn them heel. If this person's booking's not working, turn them heel. Guys, whether we like it or not, and yes, the presentation of Cody Rhodes and this championship and this title reign has been very underwhelming. I mean, let's just call it spade to spade. But that doesn't mean, guys, the answer is turning him heel. He's a top merchandise seller. He still gets a tremendous pop in his entrance. Whether you like it or not, he is the top bona fide babyface outside of Roman Reigns in this company. And that's one thing too. Clearly, this company is trying to tell two stories at once here. How can you do that when Roman Reigns is not in the building? How? Why was Roman Reigns not there this past Friday? Now, luckily, Roman Reigns in the month of October, he's got a lot of consistent scheduled dates for SmackDown coming up. So at least there's that. But for this big said tag match with Roman and Cody the week before the event, and he's not there, that's very odd, guys. Very, very odd. So that's one thing. But man, this feud with Orton and Cody has to happen sooner rather than later. And I know the wrench in the plans with all of this, right, is honestly The Rock, which is, you can argue why Cody Rhodes is even still involved with bloodline business anyway. And who knows how they go about this, man. But somebody, you would think, by the time we get to Bad Blood, by the time we get to Survivor Series, somebody's turning. I mean, if it's not from Bad Blood till Survivor Series, I don't know what the fuck we're doing at this point. So yeah, man, it's just, and who knows with Bad Blood too, I would assume that Kevin Owens is maybe going to accidentally cost Cody Rhodes the match in his tag match with Roman Reigns. Because for this tag match, right, there's many options that you would have to consider. Because this is the one thing that I am not a huge fan of this tag match, right? To where, first of all, I just don't think that Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns should be anywhere of 10 feet of one another. I just don't. I truly feel like Cody Rhodes should be doing his own thing. Roman Reigns should be doing his own thing. But here we are. This is where we're at this given point. So the question now stands, who takes the pinfall next week? The easy route would just be Solo Sikoa against getting pinned by Roman Reigns, I guess. But does WWE have the gall to have either Roman or Cody get pinned in this match? And if that's the case, Jacob Fatu has to be the one that gets the pinfall victory. If that, I mean, Jacob Fatu, who is continuing to also get a lot of good responses from fans, right? That's really becoming a true bona fide star in a lot of wrestling fans' eyes. Jacob Fatu, if that's the route they're going to go, needs to take that pinfall. To who? I don't know, man. That's the quick, because the thing is, too, man, this is what, again, Jacob Fatu taking a pin, I don't like that at all, as I'm sure a lot of people can agree with that. Cody Rhodes taking a pinfall. I just don't like champions getting pinned, man. I don't like it, because that type of booking shows that your champion can lose on any given night, right? He's not the champion that's truly at the mountaintop. Oh, he just lost a simplistic type of tag match. He can be defeated on any given night. That's why I don't like champions just losing like that. But it depends on how they book it. And with Roman, do they even acknowledge, no pun intended, the thought of even having Roman Reigns get pinned? And maybe you can do that to set up Jacob Fatu and Roman, but I highly doubt with Roman Reigns' first match back in the company, he is going to get pinned. Could he lose this tag match to Cody? Possibly. But I just can't see him taking this pinfall. I can't see it. I have to believe it. I have to see it in order to believe it. So those are my thoughts, man. I still would have to really think about the outcome and how that would go down. But as far as this match, this show as a whole goes, man, I mean, look, I like the tension that's being created with Kevin Owens and Cody Rhodes, especially on how that could be portrayed for an Orton heel turn in the future. But at the same time, man, the first 20 minutes of the show is just to set up another tag. If you feel like you've seen Kevin Owens and Orton up against the Bloodline a time or two, you would be correct, because we pretty much have seen this week after week after week after fucking week. And it's the same type of tease of an ending, to where there's all this bickering and yelling and screaming, and then there's hugging and mutual respect. You know, at what point does it become long-term storytelling or just redundancy, right? To where we've seen this with Kevin Owens and Cody multiple times. We've seen it with Orton multiple times. We've seen it with Cody with multiple people multiple times, to where it just becomes redundant, right? If you want to do this type of angle, continue to do things differently. Instead of the same tease, like, oh, I hate you, I don't like you, oh, but come here, I respect you, let's hug. To the point where we just see so much of it week after week, man. Continue to give me a reason, evolve the story, right? What you did to end that show is not evolving the story. It's just doing the same type of teases that you've been doing for the last several weeks. So, and who knows what the rating's going to be. Hopefully they can maintain they were at a 1.4, so hopefully not maintain. Hopefully at least gain another 100 to 200 or 100 viewers back from last week. But we shall see. The show as a whole, man, I don't even know, man. I can't even really say it was good, bro. It was okay. Again, just an okay average show. That's as honest as I can put it. A show to where I can just watch the highlights the next day and I've seen everything I need to see. That's it. You know, it's not like Braun Strowman and Bronson Reed crashing through a fucking stunt wall, right, over on Monday Night Raw, or if Bronson Reed crushing Braun Strowman's body through the roof of a car, you know, Monday Night Raw, man, continues to be the more superior show over SmackDown. It's clear as day. And with Roman Reigns never showing up to the show, not being on this show this past Friday, is a major, major, major problem. But hopefully, luckily, he's now going to be on the show moving forward. I know, again, his schedule came out, releases came out that he will be in October moving forward. He's got some scheduled consistent dates moving forward. But for this said tag match, man, for this big tag match, Cody and Roman teaming together, you would think that Roman Reigns would be in the building for this show, or would be on this show, period. I find that hard to believe and just baffling when you can see they're trying to tell two different stories at once with everybody involved. And not having Roman Reigns, man, is just, that's just very odd. It's like I've said about Drew McIntyre and Punk. Both of them collectively have cut separate different types of promos trying to sell their matchup, their Hell in a Cell match, when I don't need to be sold on the match because I'm already sold. Just very odd booking, man. You know, just very odd booking. And again, not a bad show, but I can't say this was a good show either. This was just average to okay. And that's as honest as I can be. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this review. Again, I said this was going to be under an hour, and unfortunately, I did not succeed at that. It is what it is, man. But I will be wrapping it up here with this said review. Again, this was your SmackDown review. Again, me and Brian will be back. Your favorite dynamic duo will be back in the flesh talking the Vince McMahon documentary later this week. Make sure you stay tuned for it and stay notified. That is a big said show coming up, talking all about this documentary. And starting next week, we will talk WWE Bad Blood. Me, Brian, and a special guest. Who that special guest is going to be, you got to stay tuned and find out. But of course, as always, thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. You guys see the banner down below. Make sure you guys follow us on Instagram and TikTok, Ruthless_Talk. Thank you guys once again for 2,000 followers on TikTok, as well on YouTube. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button down below, hit that notification bell so that way you do not miss a single episode that is being published on this platform. And of course, if you are watching this on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, thank you guys as well. And like I always say, man, more content to be made and more stuff to talk about and a lot of juicy stuff coming your way over the next several days, weeks, and months to come. That is going to do it for today's episode, everybody. My name is James Porcelli. I am signing off. Saying salute. Peace out. And take care, everybody. Top guys! Out. The skin is dry and pale. The pain will never fail.